This video will explain how to get the Ghost in the Machine achievement without using any sneaking tactics. In other words, you'll be able to enter each archive either simply by running or waiting until the owls are dead. I will point out that the label for the achievement is sort of inaccurate. It says that you just need to reach all 3 forbidden archives, but from testing this by trying to do it in a number of different ways, I figured out that the actual trigger for the achievement is that the animation for the elevator to each of the 3 archives needs to play. So if you enter one of the archives without using the elevator, for example, if you jump off the raft in the tunnel and get to the first archive section, that will not count. Yeah, so anyway, I'm just gonna let the rest of the video play.
Where it was like, now it was like, hey, get in.
Let's kickstart the economy.
Yeah,
by
we're gonna
selling some loans.
Yeah, we gotta get some houses going on, and then it was a real estate boom, a construction boom, all of these exotic financial products that allowed you to pay 1 or 2%, like a credit card,
that's on
minimum
the way again.
payment.
That's on the way.
Sure, some version of that will be on the way. Those financial products were then bundled up and sold to investment funds, and then people, we're so interconnected, what really fucked everything was like people's pensions were tied into these funds that were wrapped up with very toxic assets, which was the term, which was bad mortgages. Mortgages given to people that had no ability to repay them. And that's the mortgage-backed security, which was invented by a guy named Lou Ranieri, who's profiled in The Big Short. That was when they decided that mortgages should be traded and sold between banks and investment institutions like stocks. Your bank used to hold your mortgage. So early on, you would go to a mortgage bank and you would have the bank. I mean, so many scenes in old movies are a guy arguing with the banker. It's been rough this month. It's the banker that gave him the mortgage. He knew the guy. It was a very localized thing. I know him. I know his farm. I've been to his farm. I know what he brings in. And then everything got very global, where like I would give you a mortgage and sell it to Giannis, and then Giannis would sell it to Pimp, and then Pimp would sell it to Schultz, and then Schultz would sell
Chase would sell your mortgage to Fannie Mae.
Correct. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, or GSEs are government-sponsored entities, meaning they're not technically government-controlled, but they're government-sponsored, meaning the government. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are essentially why we have, some stability in the mortgage market, meaning that they back the loans. They, not explicitly, but they ensure that these loans are good, and they protect banks who issue these loans. And Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are, well, one of the reasons we have a 30-year mortgage. You have a stability over 30 years as a financial instrument. That's kind of unheard of, and it's not common everywhere in the world. It's very uncommon. I mean, a lot of places there's only 10-year notes. A 30-year fixed note is a financial product.
They want you working your
This
whole
is
life
why, like, the libertarians and stuff, when they start talking about, like, oh, the government's always been involved in everything.
Yeah.
The government's allowed all of this to happen. So this idea that, like, you can uncouple from the government is just not realistic. It might have been, I'll give them this, it might have been better to not have the government do all of these things. Sure, academically, great. But the reality is, even just looking at the mortgage market, the reason, and the real great book, if anyone has an interest in this, is written by Bethany McLean, and it's called All the Devils Are Here. And it's about it's from a great Shakespeare play, All the Devils Are Here. Bethany McLean also wrote one of the most influential articles. She's a reporter for Fortune, and she wrote one of the most influential articles that's ever been written in finance, and it was called How Does Enron Make Its Money?
And I know a lot about real estate. I just did a little fake business. Now, you know that I do this. A lot of the audience don't know that I do. I do fake business. I call realtors all day when I'm bored, and I pretend I'm a realtor and that my client is very interested in their property, and I ask them lots of questions about their property. I just did it with a commercial property on Palm Canyon Drive. I said, hey, this is Tim. I have a client of investor that's really interested in the property. What are we looking at per square foot, and what are some of the local restrictions we should know about? And, these whole things. they go into this whole thing. They go, well, you know, they don't want a coffee shop in there because Starbucks, there's a competing business clause, so Starbucks doesn't want a coffee shop. This is how the corporate takeover of America is, by the way, because when Starbucks moves into an area, they go, yeah, we don't want some independent coffee shop opening. Not all areas, but a lot of them. We don't need somebody slinging lattes for less than we are. So the guy goes, well, there's a Sprint store, so we can't do a competing business, blah, blah, blah. And we talked about it. There's a lot of parking behind. I said, thank you. I said, I have an investor, but he's very concerned about, you know, the competing business clause and everything like that. And I was on the phone with this guy for about 10 minutes. And he said to me, oh, Tim, that's cruel. Their time has value. No, it doesn't. And I will continue to do fake business because I like doing fake business. It's one of my favorite things to do. I like to call people and I like to lie about who I am and what I do. And then I like to see how they conduct business because on their end, they're conducting real business. I'm conducting fake business. And never the two shall meet. We've gotten to the point where one of my clients who doesn't exist was almost going to put an offer on a house. This was last week. I've been on the phone with this realtor for like 45 minutes, 3 times in a row. I've had to block her finally. She doesn't know what happened. Sometimes I have to block the people because fake business gets very intense. Fake business, people start drawing up contracts. I mean, she was calling appraisers. She was going to have inspections done. You know, I was representing a very motivated overseas client. Now, sadly, that client died of coronavirus before we could go see the property. That's not my fault. And I tried to explain that to her, but she was kind of confused and started saying, oh, this, you know, blah, blah, blah. Are you real? Is this real? Cops, FBI, whatever, blah, 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 blocked. I'm helping train these professionals. Do you understand? Yes or yes? By calling them, people need practice. So this schmuck over there on Palm Canyon, I did use my real name, by the way. Like, this is Tim Dillon. And sometimes I make up a firm name. Sometimes I use a real firm name. Sometimes I just say, this is Tim Dillon with Futures. He goes, what? And I go, Futures Investment? He goes, okay. Just go, okay. I go, yeah, all right. I go, yeah, you got a commercial listing on Palm Canyon on the corner? I'm wondering what we're looking at price per square foot. What's the parking in the area like? What's the competing business clause? Well, any local restrictions we should know about? I have a team of investors that are looking to expand into this area. Many of them, sometimes it's a franchise, sometimes not. But I'm just, you know, it's an investment group. They're very interested. They love the visibility of the location. Oh, he goes, it's a great location. So they love the visibility of the location. And see, right there, we're beginning to do fake business. Because then he goes to his wife and he goes, hey, I just got a call from a guy that may be interested in this. And then he tells his secretary, and then he tells his partner. So I'm in, and I'll give him a follow-up call later tonight. I'll have 10 more bullet point questions before I bring my investors. And I do this. Now, a lot of people, I was explaining to someone at dinner that I do this, and they go, that's horrible. I said, why? Doing fake business. They go, why? I said, I like doing it. So I don't have a real estate license and I can't do real business, but I at least can do fake business. They said, that's pretty sick. I said, maybe you're sick because I want realtors to get the best professional. You golf a lot, right? Mm-hmm. When you golf every day, are you better at it?
Yes, absolutely.
Now that doesn't now even that includes going to a driving range.
Sure.
Right. Correct.
Right.
Sometimes I see golfers swing clubs in their backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Helps. Doesn't matter if it's real or fake. What matters is that this guy's going through the next guy to call him might be real. But I'm gonna beat that guy out. I'm gonna do a competitive offer because I conduct fake business well, and many people don't. A lot of people do things. People go on fake diets. I've done a ton of them. People do all kinds of things that aren't real. People are fake comedians. They pretend to be a comedian for a decade and impoverish themselves and live on a floor and walk dogs. Fine. That's all. When you go home to your family for Thanksgiving and you go, I'm a comedian, they're eating and they're like, no, you're not. You're a pretend comedian. You're a fake comedian. Right. I am a fake real estate investor, and I will continue to do fake business. So if you get a call from a guy that sounds like me, just be forewarned, the deal's not closing. The deal's not closing. I have an interest in presenting myself. I have a lot of clients when I do fake business. They're very busy.
Many of them are overseas. They cannot handle. I mean, we should probably get the phone, do a little fake business right now. Maybe we get our phone. Can you get the phone? Let's do a little fake business. Because I don't think people understand what I bring to the table and how good I really am. Is that my phone? Let me call this guy back. How do we get him in the roadcaster? Is he in the roadcaster?
Hello?
Hey, Adam, Tim Dillon, how are you? We spoke about the property on Palm Canyon a few minutes ago.
Yeah, hey Jeff, how's it going?
Good, buddy. How are you? I wanted to know if there's a list of the competing clause. My client's asking me if there's a list of businesses, whether it's Starbucks, Sprint, things like that, that we could kind of figure out what the restrictions are, just so I could kind of email that to them, because he wants to show it to his investors, if that's possible. Also, is there a way they can get out to see the property maybe later in the week?
Yeah, I live about 4 minutes from it, so not too difficult. That, and I will just go to the center right now and send you a quick list of all of the businesses that are in there already.
I would appreciate that. Let me ask you a question too. How long has this property been on the market? I haven't looked it up yet.
Yeah, I've been marketing it for maybe, I think I just signed it like right when COVID hit, and then I delayed it for like 2 or 3 months. So I'd say maybe like 2 or 3 months now.
Okay, and before you had it, was it sitting there for a while or no? They always like to know these things.
Yeah, I know Banner Mattress was there up until recently.
Okay.
I know there's a mattress firm like right across the street.
Yeah, I saw that. Would this be a 5-year lease, or what are they looking for in terms of commitment?
Yeah, it really just depends on the tenant and the rate, things like that. Obviously, the longer the commitment, the better we can do on the rate. But I think they're open right now.
Okay, and I imagine they're
minimum 5 years.
I imagine they're open to some form of negotiation at
Okay. Whew. All right, kicking off the show Monday, October 18th, 2021. Boys, I got a confession to make. I badly overslept today. I got nothing for the weekend. I got no news. I mean, I don't know what to do for the show today. I mean, so you're like, what can we talk about today? What do you got for me?
Wait, you haven't heard?
Heard what?
Colin Powell died.
Wow. This is the first time hearing about this. He led an amazing life. He led an amazing life. Just what more can you say? People will be surprised that I'm saying that. I'm still going to say it. He was a great guy, led an extraordinary life.
Wow.
Colin Powell. Wow.
Now that he's dead, can we start pronouncing his name correctly?
Colin? Colin Powell?
Yeah, what the fuck? How did that how was this just a thing? Yeah, we're gonna call him Colin, and no one is ever supposed to ask why.
Because of the famous meme.
Yeah.
The 3 most powerful guys in the world are Dick, Cheney, and Colin.
Dick, a Bush, and a colon.
Do you guys ever?
Yeah, it was like
That was the Hope, Cash, and Jobs of the early aughts.
But you used to get more for your buck because it was like the most powerful guys are Bush, Dick, and Colin, and the best golfer is black, and the best rapper is white, and the best actress is a woman.
I mean, have you guys ever pondered the comedic potential of the fact that the 2 guys running your rap war were named Richard and Colin?
Oh wow.
Colin Powell, though. Yeah. Wow. Let's dive into the obituaries. we've got New York Times here. Colin Powell, who shaped U.S. national security, dies at 84. Colin L. Powell. Thank you. Colin L. Powell, who in 4 decades of public life served as the nation's top soldier, diplomat, and national security advisor, and whose speech at the United Nations in 2003 helped pave the way for the United States to go to war in Iraq, died on Monday. He was 84. The causeless complications of COVID-19, his family said in a statement, adding that he'd been vaccinated and was treated at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland, where he died. Mr. Powell had undergone treatment for multiple myeloma, which compromised his immune system, a spokeswoman said. She said he was due to receive a booster shot for his vaccine last week, but could not because he had fallen out. If only he got the booster.
Yeah, I saw some funny posts that were like, the vaccine didn't kill Colin Powell, but you not getting it did kill him. And it's like, that's a good point. Perfectly healthy 84-year-olds don't just die like that.
We're trying to get, if you're trying to encourage people to get the vaccine, reminding them that you could potentially kill Colin Powell or maybe Henry Kissinger by not getting it is not the best strategy in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I don't know a lot of people who are like very into Colin Powell and they're like, I'm not getting it.
It says here, as chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Mr. Powell was the architect of the invasion of Panama in 1989 and of the Persian Gulf War in 1991, which ousted Saddam Hussein from Kuwait but left him in power in Iraq. Along with Dick Cheney, the defense secretary at the time, Mr. Powell reshaped the American Cold War military that stood at the ready at the Iron Curtain spread in the half century. In doing so, he stamped the Powell Doctrine on military operations, identified clear political objectives, gained public support, and used decisive overwhelming force to defeat enemy forces. When briefing reporters at the Pentagon at the beginning of the Gulf War, Mr. Powell summed up the military's approach. Our strategy in going after this army is very simple, he said. First, we're going to cut it off, then we're going to kill it.
Kill what?
The Iraqi army.
Oh,
He's never going to kill it. Like, yeah, we're going to kill this war shit.
well, he did a hell of a job with the retreating forces going on the highway of death. He was really good at covering up and overseeing massacres, that's for sure.
Well, I want to get into that, but I mean, I'm just jumping ahead in the New York Times obituary too. The last little subject they had covering his whole career, a painful speech at the UN. It was so painful for him. It was so painful for him. That
I heard him.
Yeah, I heard him so much. He says here, in a 76-minute speech at the United Nations on February 5th, 2003, Mr. Powell pressed the American case for a possible war to disarm Iraq, presenting photographs, electronic intercepts of conversations between Iraqi military officers, and information from defectors aimed at proving Mr. Hussein was an imminent danger to the world. In the Bush administration's most explicit effort to connect the activities between Iraq and Al-Qaeda, Mr. Powell suggested that Iraq's lethal weapons could be given at any time to terrorists who could use them against the United States or Europe. He provided new details about what he said were Iraq's effort to develop mobile laboratories to make germ weapons. He asserted that Iraq had sought to hide missiles in its western desert. Significantly, he cited intelligence reports that Mr. Hussein authorized his military to use poison gas if the United States invaded. I like the idea that, just a couple notes here. I remember the mobile biological weapons labs, and at the UN presentation, he was like, exhibit here about the mobile bioweapons labs is an artist rendering of what they would look like if we found one. And then also, I like the idea that they were hiding missiles in the country's western desert. Yeah, if I'm looking to hide missile batteries, I'm going to hide it in the desert. A lot of places like to hide missiles in the desert. But I mean, you could have the same underground facilities that Osama bin Laden had, so never know. Here's my favorite part, though. It's Times right here. Before the speech, Mr. Powell had spent several days at the CIA grilling analysts on the intelligence, paring back many of the claims in an early White House draft of the speech that he felt were unsupported. Now he felt confident, he told aides before his address in New York. Leaving Saddam Hussein in possession of weapons of mass destruction for a few more months or years is not an option. Not in a post-September 11th world, Mr. Powell declared. This to me gets to the heart of how uniquely evil Colin Powell was as a person and a figure in our national discourse. Because if he had been a true believer, if he had actually bought the bullshit that Dick Cheney was selling the rest of the country, he wouldn't have taken it upon himself to so thoroughly vet the material that he was supposed to present. This was this bare ass covering where he's like, I really did my due diligence at the CIA, really drilling down, and I shaved off a few of the more unsupported allegations in my brief that I presented to the world, full of nothing but unsupported allegations. I mean, I don't think it can be overstated that if there was one person alive that could have technically stopped the Iraq War from happening, it was him. And he
Definitely.
And he went along with it like a good soldier. And
Right.
by the way, this is a shout out to our good friend John Schwartz at The Intercept. We know now because of Colin Powell's close personal aide Larry Wilkerson, who was his chief of staff at the time, that on February 5th in front of the UN Security Council, he said this. My colleagues, every statement I make today is backed up by sources, solid sources. These are not assertions. What we're giving you are facts and conclusions based on solid intelligence. Quote, there is no doubt in my mind. In private, Lawrence Wilkerson recalls that Powell said the day before, walked into my office musing and said words to the effect of, I wonder how we'll all feel if we put 500,000 troops in Iraq and march. I wonder how we'll all feel if we put 500,000 troops in Iraq and march from one end of the country to the other and find nothing.
We found out. We were fine. It was cool.
Yeah, no.
That's why pencils have erasers. Don't worry about it.
Well, the Iraqi army that had been dismantled previously, there were no elements of that. There were no Sunnis who were like, oh, holy shit, they're getting rid of all of us and purging us. We have to create sort of an irregular terror army. That did not happen. It was fine. I do want to point out that Will did say Iraq.
Iraq?
Yeah, I heard that.
Really?
Yeah.
You said Iraq.
Yeah.
This motherfucker said Iraq.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's true, and it's true that that Powell was the one guy who theoretically could have stopped the war. In that he could have before, instead of going in front of the UN and saying that stuff, he could have gone in front of the UN and said, "I quit. These guys are lying," and that might have been enough to throw a wrench into it. I don't know. I mean, they were really fixed on doing it, so that might not even have been enough. And the media was really down for it too, so even that might not have been enough. But it could have. It's the only thing that could have been a significant roadblock. Sure as hell wasn't going to be poor Janine Garofalo getting yelled at by Bill O'Reilly.
No, I guarantee you, if Colin Powell had done the thing that people are speculating about and had not played the good soldier for George W. Bush and their war in Iraq, like essentially, because they needed him to go to the UN because he was the one member of their cabinet that was like trusted by by liberals and kind of the international media. He didn't manage to convince the international press, but he certainly managed to convince a lot of liberals in the U.S. media. But if he had done the thing that like you were speculating about and just said, "I quit," these guys are lying to you, I guarantee you his obituaries today would basically the headline would be "Controversial figure Colin Powell dies of COVID."
Yeah.
But but the thing is that he was never going to do that because he was one of them. He wanted to do it.
Yeah.
He wanted to do the war. The difference between him and guys like Cheney and Rumsfeld, and the reason that he is in many ways kind of a more grotesque figure than they are, is that he wanted to do it without getting yelled at by the New York Times and the New York Times' readership. He cares cared about polite society and respectable opinion while they were invading Iraq, as opposed to the rest of the squad who were rightly saying, as Karl Rove did, you guys are just commentators to the reality that we build. I way more respect that than that fucking mealy mouth bullshit coming out of Colin Powell. I mean, he himself, he was going to run for president in '96, and he decided not to because he said he didn't have the fire in the belly. And that was basically his entire life, is just a weak-willed little remore for power who wanted all of the benefits, and he wanted to be in the room when all the grand strategy was happening, but he didn't want the full implication of what that meant.
Don't forget that the reason that people feel like this is a betrayal erroneously is the respect that Powell built up as, leading the invasion in Panama. For a war that's as fraudulent and as fucking absurd as Iraq.
Yeah.
A complete bullshit war where, yes, we mutilated and charred people beyond recognition. This, probably by the thousands. We don't really know.
They're still discovering mass graves in Panama.
Yeah. He was Iraq, which, yes, there was a Bana for that war that people never talk about. There was a Kuwaiti child who said she was dispossessed and, threatened by Iraqi forces, and turned out to be the daughter of a Kuwaiti lobbyist. Which is not to say that, it's like Iraq should have invaded Kuwait, but more to say, no, that's not our business. It's not something we should be involved in. And if you fundamentally disagree with that, then we see the world. There's an irreconcilable difference in how we see the world. That's always who Powell was. He was supposed to be better than Rumsfeld or Wolfowitz or any of those guys because he wore a different outfit while doing the same thing.
Yeah. And that's why that detail about days before his UN presentation, he spent at the CIA, grilling analysts and excising some of the more controversial claims, just shows you that that's worse, because he wouldn't have done that if he wasn't filled with doubts about the things, the role